What happened on that trip doesn't count, Brianna said, like she was reading a policy out loud. I looked at her, nodded once, and said, "Okay, then neither do I." 2 days later, while she was still packing for another night out, I was signing a new lease across town and turning our shared life into labeled boxes. Hey friends, please subscribe and turn on notifications, like this video, and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you. It's all thanks to you. We were together a little over 2 years. We met at a charity 5K in Chattanooga, Tennessee, of all places. I wasn't there to set a personal record. My job as an insurance claims adjuster has me in my car all day, and I try to stay in shape so I don't end up feeling 50 at 32. Brianna was working a booth for the nonprofit, handing out water and smiling like she knew everybody. On paper, we made sense. I'm steady. I like schedules. I'm the guy who pays the electric bill the day it hits the inbox. She's social, quick, always planning something, always a birthday dinner or a themed bar crawl or a girls' weekend someone needed because life is short. I didn't mind that at first. In fact, it felt good to have someone pull me into the world a bit. We started simple, coffee after work, then dinners. Then she'd come over and leave little things behind on purpose, a hair tie on my nightstand, a toothbrush in my bathroom cup like a flag. She laughed the first time she noticed me using it. "Look at you," she said, domesticated. When we moved in together, it was because her lease was ending and my place was too small for two people who both work from home some days. We found a duplex on the north side. It wasn't fancy, but it was clean, close to the Riverwalk, and the landlord, Hank, was the kind of guy who fixed things fast and didn't make everything an argument. The lease ended up only in my name. Brianna's credit was messy from an old medical bill and a store card she didn't pay on time. She promised she'd clean it up. Hank was polite about it, but firm. "I've got to go with the stronger application," he said, sliding the paperwork toward me. Brianna squeezed my hand under the table like it was us against the world. I signed anyway. That was sacrifice number one. Number two was money. Brianna loved little upgrades, plants, throw pillows, a bar cart we didn't need, tickets for concerts where we stood in a crowd and she screamed the lyrics while I watched people spill beer. I don't mind spending on experiences, but her "it's only money" attitude started showing up every week. I covered more than I wanted to because she always had a reason. Payrolls delayed. My car needed tires. I had to book the hotel for my friend's bachelorette. She'll pay me back. Number three was time. She had family in Atlanta and friends in Nashville. Most weekends we weren't home. I'd drive because she hated highways. I'd sit through brunches where I didn't know anyone and still tried to be polite because I loved her and I thought that's what partners do. And I did love her. She could be bright and sweet when she wanted to be. She'd dance in the kitchen while pasta boiled. She'd kiss my cheek when I was focused on paperwork. She made friends everywhere, and for a while it felt like we were building something. There was one small thing I kept from my old life, something dumb but personal. A chipped ceramic mug with a little mountain illustration on it. I got it at a roadside stand years ago on a trip with my dad. It was the kind of mug that didn't match anything, but it felt like home to me. Brianna teased me about it. "That ugly mug is your emotional support animal," she'd say, stealing it and drinking out of it just to bother me. I wish that was the worst part of this story. The shift started around the time Brianna got a new job as a marketing coordinator for an event company. More nightlife, more client dinners, more coworkers I'd never met. She started coming home later, smelling like perfume and loud rooms. She'd toss her heels by the door and scroll on her phone like she was still at the party. One name popped up more than the others: Colin. She said he was a vendor rep they worked with. I didn't love how often she mentioned him, but I didn't do the insecure boyfriend thing. I'm not built like that. I'm built like a guy who notices patterns and writes them down mentally. One night she came in at almost 1 in the morning and started talking fast, like if she filled the air, I wouldn't be able to ask questions. "Long night," she said, dropping her purse on the counter. We had to make a call on the lighting package, and then the team wanted to grab a drink. I was sitting at the kitchen table with my laptop open, finishing a claim report. "Okay," I said. "Did you eat?" She stopped, blinked like she wasn't expecting that. Yeah, apps, it's fine." I nodded, cool. Here's the thing, when you don't argue, some people get louder because they need the friction. Brianna started looking for it. A few days later, she told me she had a work trip coming up, a weekend in Savannah for an event. She said it like it was nothing. "Savannah," I asked, "since when does your company do weekend trips?" "It's not a trip," she said. "It's a site visit. We're finalizing a venue. It's important." I said, "Are you going alone?" She rolled her eyes. "No, the team is going. It's literally work." I didn't press, I just asked for dates so I could plan around it. She told me Friday to Sunday. She also told me casually that she might stay an extra day if it makes sense, because flights were cheaper. That's when I started feeling that tight little warning in my chest. Not panic, not jealousy, just the part of me that knows when something isn't adding up. The argument happened the Thursday before she left. It wasn't some dramatic screaming match. It started over something stupid, like most real arguments do. I noticed she'd bought a new dress and hung it on the outside of the closet, like it needed its own spotlight. It wasn't a work dress. It was the kind of dress you wear when you want strangers to look at you. "You got plans after the site visit?" I asked. Brianna didn't look up from her phone. "What?" "The dress," I said, keeping it light. "That doesn't look like walking a venue with a clipboard." She huffed. "We're going out after. Networking. You always do this." "Do what?" "Make it weird," she said. "Turn everything into a thing." I closed my laptop and kept my voice calm. "I'm not making anything weird. I'm asking." She finally looked at me, eyes sharp. "Okay, fine, we're going out. People go out, it's normal." "Is Colin going?" I asked. I didn't spit the name like an accusation. I just asked it like a weather question. Her face changed, not guilty exactly, annoyed, like I'd stepped on her shoe. "Why do you care?" she said. "Because you've said his name more than any other person you work with." She laughed, but it was the mean kind. "Oh my God, you are not doing this." I said, "I'm not doing anything. I'm trying to understand what's going on." That's when she dropped it, not loud, not even emotional, just cold and certain, like she'd rehearsed it. "Whatever happens out of town isn't real life," she said. "If anything happens, it doesn't count." There it was, that was the nuclear line, not "don't be insecure," not "trust me." It was a loophole. I stared at her for a second, because my brain was catching up to my ears. "What do you mean, if anything happens?" I asked. She shrugged, like we were talking about calories. "I mean, it's a work trip. Everyone blows off steam. It's not like, it's not cheating if it's not in our regular life." I wish I could tell you I raised my voice or demanded her phone or gave some speech. I didn't. I felt something inside me go very still. I said, "So your plan is to do whatever and call it not real." She tossed her hair, irritated that I wasn't yelling. "I'm saying you need to relax. You're holding me back with this constant suspicion. It's exhausting." There it was again, another little knife. "You're holding me back, like my basic standards were an anchor." I looked at the mug on the counter, the one with the mountains, and for a second I thought about my dad, how he used to say, "When people tell you who they are, believe them the first time." It wasn't poetic, it was practical. Brianna watched my face like she was waiting for me to beg. "I didn't. I just said, got it." She blinked. "Got it." "Yeah," I said, "got it." She scoffed and went back to packing, like she'd won, like my quiet meant surrender. The confirmation came the next morning, and it wasn't because I hacked anything or played detective. It came because Brianna is the kind of person who lives on her phone and assumes the world is her assistant. I was making coffee, using my ugly mountain mug, when Brianna walked through the kitchen in socks, tapping her screen. She set her phone down on the counter next to the fruit bowl and went to the bathroom. Her phone lit up with a notification. Big text on the lock screen. No password needed to read it, just sitting there in plain view while the coffee dripped. "Hotel Indigo, Savannah Riverfront, reservation confirmed." Under it, smaller text, "2 adults, 1 king, check-in Friday." My stomach didn't drop, it just hardened. Because she told me it was a team trip, site visits, multiple coworkers. But that reservation wasn't a block of rooms for a team. It was 1 room, 1 king bed, 2 adults. And it wasn't booked through her company travel portal. I could tell because it wasn't some corporate confirmation. It was a regular hotel email. That's when I realized her loophole wasn't theoretical. It was scheduled. She came back out, humming, and saw me looking at the counter. I didn't grab the phone, I didn't unlock it, I didn't scroll, I didn't need to. The receipt was sitting there like a signed confession. I slid my coffee away from the edge and said, quietly, "Your hotel confirmation popped up." Her whole body stiffened. She snatched the phone like it was hot. "Why are you looking at my phone?" "I'm looking at the counter," I said. It lit up. She opened her mouth, then closed it. In that pause, I watched her try to decide which version of the lie to sell. "It's for the team," she said quickly. "We're sharing expenses. I booked it." "One room," I said. "One king, two adults." She got angry fast because that's what some people do when the math doesn't work. "So what? It's just a room. We're not sleeping the whole time." I stared at her. "Brianna." She crossed her arms and lifted her chin. "Don't say my name like that. You're making it a bigger deal than it is." I could have argued. I could have pointed out that two adults is the team. I could have asked who the other adult was. I already knew. Instead, that quiet switch flipped all the way. I said, "All right then." That was it. That was my calm line. No threats, no drama, just a decision settling into place. She rolled her eyes like I was being difficult and started talking about how I'm controlling, how I don't support her career, how I'm not fun anymore. She kept throwing words at me like they'd stick. I didn't catch any of them. I went to work like normal. I did my job. I answered calls. I drove to inspections. I ate lunch in my car, and I made a plan. Because here's the thing I learned in claims. Feelings don't move money. Paperwork does. Timelines do. Proof does. If you want a clean outcome, you get organized. Within 48 hours, I reset my life, not by teaching her a lesson, by removing myself from a situation that was about to get uglier. First, I called Hank, our landlord, and asked what my options were. I didn't tell him my whole relationship story. I just said the living situation was changing, and I needed to know the proper steps. Hank sighed like he'd heard 1,000 versions. "Lease is in your name," he said. "If you want to move out, you can. You're responsible until we re-rent. I can list it. You'd need to give written notice. We'll do a walkthrough when you're out." I asked if my girlfriend stays. He was quiet for a beat. "She's not on the lease. I can't make a new agreement with her without her applying. But you can't just lock somebody out if they've been living there. Don't do anything dumb." "I'm not," I said. "I'm trying to do this right." Second, I found a short-term rental across town, a small one-bedroom over a garage owned by a retired couple, month to month, quiet, clean. I toured it that same day, signed paperwork, and paid the deposit from my own account. Third, I opened my banking app and created a new checking account at the same bank, then moved my direct deposit over. I didn't drain anything shared because we didn't have a joint account, thank God, but she did have access to my debit card for groceries, and I removed it from the digital wallet. I also called the credit card company and removed her as an authorized user on my card. I'd added her months earlier to help her build credit. That was finished. Fourth, I changed passwords on my email, my cell carrier account, my streaming services, my cloud storage, and my Amazon account. Not her accounts. Mine. I turned on two-factor authentication. I logged out of all devices. Fifth, I scheduled movers for Saturday morning. 2 guys in a truck. I didn't need a whole crew. I wasn't taking furniture we bought together. I was taking what I owned. My work desk, my clothes, my tools, and a few kitchen things that were mine before Brianna ever touched a throw pillow. Sixth, I rented a small storage unit for 30 days because I didn't want anything I couldn't fit in the new place sitting around as bait for a fight. I picked a facility with cameras and a keypad. I got a receipt emailed to me, everything documented. Seventh, I went to the post office and put in a change of address for myself only, not her. I didn't mess with her mail. I also ordered a locking mailbox for the new place because I'm not dramatic, but I am practical. Eighth, I took photos of the duplex. Not to be petty, to protect myself. I walked through each room and took clear pictures of walls, floors, appliances, and anything that could become a "you damaged my stuff" argument later. Time-stamped, saved. Ninth, I made a list of anything of hers that I had purchased, not because I wanted it back, because I wanted to be able to say, "I'm not keeping anything, it's all there." I put her things in one corner of the spare room neatly. I didn't touch personal stuff more than necessary. 10th, my one petty but legal detail. I took my mountain mug and the matching little coaster my dad gave me with it, and I packed them first. It was small. It meant nothing to anyone else, but it was mine, and I wasn't leaving it behind like a trophy. I did all of that while Brianna acted like nothing was happening. She was busy, getting her nails done, running errands, going to one last meeting with the team. She saw my quiet and assumed I'd fold. Saturday morning, while she was at a pre-trip brunch with her friends, I moved. I didn't trash the place, I didn't leave a mess, I cleaned the kitchen, I wiped down counters, I vacuumed, I took out the trash, I left the keys on the counter because Hank told me not to disappear with them. Then I wrote a note, not a letter, not a paragraph, just a line that mirrored her logic. Out of town doesn't count, so do we. 8 words, Klein, true. I left it on the counter under the keyring. By the time Brianna got home, my side of the closet was empty, my desk was gone, and the only thing left that looked like me was a faint rectangle on the wall where my calendar used to hang. I was sitting in my new place, on a folding chair, eating takeout, when my phone started blowing up. First call, I let it ring. Second call, I let it ring. Then the texts came in fast. What is this? Are you serious? Where are you? This is insane, Ethan. I didn't reply right away, not because I was trying to punish her, because I knew if I answered while she was spinning, it would become a fight, and I was done fighting for a person who had already scheduled the betrayal. An hour later, the tone changed. Please call me. I don't understand. Did Hank say you could do this? Then anger again. You can't just abandon me. I'm calling the cops if you stole anything. That one made me exhale through my nose, not laugh, just that tired breath you do when someone tries a bluff. I sent one text, short and factual. I moved my belongings. Your things are untouched. Lease is in my name. I gave notice. If you need to coordinate pickup of anything I have, email me. Within 5 minutes, another number called. I didn't recognize it, but I answered because sometimes it's work. Ethan, a woman said, voice already sharp. This is Patris, Brianna's sister. Of course it was. I said hi. What you did is cruel, Patris said. No hello, no question, straight to verdict. She's a mess. You can't just leave her like that. I kept my voice even. She's not in danger. I moved out. I'm not arguing about it. Patris scoffed. So you're just done. Over what? Some misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding, I said. Well, she said you were acting jealous and controlling, Patris snapped. She said you were looking through her phone. I didn't look through her phone, I said. A reservation notification popped up on the lock screen while it was on the counter. Silence for half a second. Then Patris doubled down because flying monkeys don't come to learn, they come to pressure. You're throwing away 2 years, she said. Brianna has been stressed. She has anxiety. You know that. You're triggering her. There it was, mental health as a lever. I said I hope she gets support. I'm not her support system anymore. Patris's voice got louder. So you're just going to leave her with rent she can't pay. I'm handling the lease with the landlord, I said. She can apply to take it over if she wants, or she can move. That's between her and Hank. Patris started to say something else and I cut it off, still calm. I'm not doing this on the phone. If Brianna needs to communicate, she can email. I'm hanging up now. I hung up. That afternoon, the second flying monkey arrived. Marisol, one of Brianna's coworkers I'd met twice at a company happy hour. Friendly, loud, the kind of woman who calls everyone babe like it's punctuation. She texted me, hey Ethan, it's Marisol. Brianna is freaking out. Can you please talk to her? She's saying you left her over nothing. I stared at the message for a moment. Then I replied with one sentence. I'm not discussing my relationship through intermediaries. Marisol sent back, wow, cold. I didn't answer. Brianna tried every door. First, denial, you misunderstood. It was for a client. We needed a king for staging. You're crazy. Then anger, you're pathetic. You never trusted me. You're ruining my life. Then guilt, I can't believe you'd do this to me. I thought you loved me. Then bargaining, can we meet for closure? Just coffee, please. Then rage again when I didn't take the bait. Fine, go be boring somewhere else. She even tried a cop threat again, texting that she was reporting theft because she couldn't find a pair of sunglasses she swore were hers. I replied with an address. Any items you believe are missing can be listed in an email. If you want to retrieve belongings from the duplex, coordinate with Hank. That was the only time I used her job tone back at her, not sarcastically, just clean and documented. Here's another thing I realized. When you don't argue, people run out of fuel. Brianna needed a villain. I refused the role. She still went to Savannah. I know because Quentin told me. Quentin is a bartender at a place near the river that Brianna liked. Not a close friend of mine, but friendly enough. He texted me 2 days after the move. "Hey man, not my business, but I saw Brianna last night. She was talking loud. She's down here with Colin, sorry." That was the mutual friend's slip confession, served without me asking. Another receipt, not illegal, just the world being the world. I replied, "Thanks for letting me know." That was it. When Brianna came back, the storm got uglier for a week. Hank called me to say she tried to convince him to put the lease in her name without applying. Hank told her no. She left him 3 voicemails. Hank sounded exhausted. "I'm relisting the unit," he said, "but you gotta keep paying until it's rented. That's the deal." "I understand," I said. "Send me everything in writing." He did. I paid. It wasn't cheap, but peace costs something and I could afford it. Brianna showed up at my work once, which was bold and stupid. She didn't get past reception. My coworker Devin texted me, "Your girlfriend is here. She's upset." I walked out to the lobby because I didn't want a scene around my colleagues. Brianna was pacing, eyes red, makeup smudged, like she'd practiced looking like the victim. "There you are," she said, loud enough for people to look up. "So you're just going to ignore me forever." I kept my voice low. "This isn't the place." She stepped closer. "You can't do this. I didn't even do anything. And even if I did, it wasn't like." She stopped herself, then said it anyway, because it was her religion now. It wasn't real. It was out of town. I looked her in the eye. "Don't come to my job again." She scoffed, "Or what? You'll what? Move again." I didn't react. I just said, "If you need to communicate, email. If you come here again, I'll have security walk you out. That's the boundary." Her face twisted. "You're acting like I'm some criminal." "I'm acting like you're not my partner," I said, "because you're not." She tried one more angle, softer. "Can we just talk, like adults, closure?" I shook my head once. "We're already closed." That line landed, not because it was clever, because it was final. She stood there like she wanted me to chase her. I didn't. A few weeks later, the duplex got rented. Hank emailed me the final accounting. I paid the last bit and got my deposit back minus a small cleaning fee. No drama, no court, no police, just the boring systems of adulthood working the way they're supposed to. Life got quiet in a good way. I slept better. I stopped checking my phone with that tight feeling. My bank account stopped bleeding for little upgrades. I went back to cooking at home instead of living on takeout between her plans. I started running again in the mornings. I also started doing one small thing every night that sounds silly. I'd drink tea from my mountain mug in my new place, sitting on my little balcony, watching the streetlights come on. It wasn't about the mug. It was about having something of mine that stayed mine. That's when I thought it was over. Then came the final run-in. It was about 6 weeks after the move. I was at the Chattanooga airport, not flying anywhere fancy, just picking up my mom who was visiting for a couple days. I was sitting in the cell phone waiting lot with my window cracked, scrolling through a work email, mountain mug in the cup holder because I'd been drinking coffee on the way. I saw a car pull in 2 spaces over, and I recognized it immediately. Brianna's silver sedan with the little scratch on the rear bumper she never got fixed. My body didn't tense. It's weird. I thought it would, but by then she felt like an old commercial jingle I didn't like. She got out, spotted me, and walked over like she'd been waiting for a stage. "You've got to be kidding me," she said, hands on hips. "Of course you're here." I glanced at the mug, then back at her. "I'm waiting to pick up my mom." Brianna's eyes flicked to the mug like it offended her. "Wow," she said, "you still have that stupid thing." I didn't answer the mug comment. I didn't give her the satisfaction. She leaned closer to my open window. "So that's it. You just move out, ghost me, and act like you're better than everyone." "I didn't ghost you," I said. "I set a boundary. You ignored it." She laughed, but it sounded shaky. "You think you're so calm. You think you're so mature, but you're cold." I kept my voice level. This isn't a conversation I'm having in an airport parking lot. She threw her hands up. See, you won't even talk, you're such a coward. There's a moment in these situations where you can either get pulled back into the old dance, or you can end it clean. I chose clean. I said, Brianna, we're not together. Don't approach me again. Not at work, not in public, not through other people. If there's a practical issue, email. Otherwise, we're done. Her face tightened. You're acting like you're some prize, like I lost something. I held her gaze calm. You told me what didn't count. I listened. She opened her mouth like she wanted one last jab, but a shuttle bus rumbled by and made her pause. In that pause, she looked suddenly tired, like she realized the performance wasn't landing. She muttered, whatever. Then she walked back to her car, slamming the door hard enough to make her own vehicle shake. She peeled out of the lot like the asphalt owed her something. I sat there, took a sip from my mug, and felt nothing dramatic, just relief. My mom's flight landed 10 minutes later. I picked her up, hugged her, carried her bag, and drove home like a normal son. A month after that, I went on a casual date with a woman named Nadia who I met at a local trivia night. No sparks flying off the walls, no intense declarations, just easy conversation and a laugh that didn't come with a hangover. It felt healthy. It felt like real life. And that's the part people don't talk about enough. The quiet win isn't humiliating someone or getting revenge. It's waking up without chaos. It's checking your bank account without dread. It's having a home that stays peaceful because you protect it. If you've ever had someone try to rewrite your reality with a loophole like, it doesn't count, I hope you remember this. You don't have to argue to be strong. You just have to be clear. And if you made it to the end, hit like, subscribe if you want more real-world stories like this, and drop a comment. What would you have done when someone told you it doesn't count?